I think we all really have the best of intentions when we set out to meal plan, whether it's to save money, to eat healthier, to make our lives more simple, whatever the reason we have for meal planning. I feel like we all have really good intentions when we begin the process of thinking that it's going to solve all those problems. But then along the way, I don't know, the wheels start to come off, the train slips off the tracks. Next thing you know, you're barreling down the side of the mountain and you're going through McDonald's drive-thru, getting Chick-fil-A or ordering pizza, and the meal plan has gone by the wayside. If that's you, you are not alone. I have been there many a time. Meal planning has been one of the biggest things that our family has tried to really drill down and get good at, because we're feeding so many people. We're feeding 10 people. We cannot just buzz through the drive-thru. Those simple fixes end up completely blowing our food budget because, well, it costs like $75 to feed 10 people. And the drive-thru at some fast food restaurant, I don't even want to tell you how much it costs if we sit down someplace to eat. Not only do we blow our budget completely when we're not good at meal planning or when we don't do a good job at following through with it, but then we also end up eating really unhealthy for way too often. I get all backed up. I'm constipated. I'm cranky. My husband's gassy. It's a problem, okay? It's just a problem for the whole house. Meal planning. It is important, not just for your intestinals, but also for your budget and for your overall well-being. Maybe none of that's true for you, but you're here, you're watching this because perhaps you're interested in my 5 tips to make meal planning easy. These things, I'm telling you, okay, I really sat down and tried to figure out exactly the key things I think have allowed us to really be good at meal planning now and stick to our meal plan. It's not just creating the meal plan, but it's sticking to it, okay? That's the harder part. It's sitting down and making a meal plan really isn't all that hard, but I will tell you what will stop you from doing it consistently and what will stop you from actually following through and making the meals that are on your meal plan. Those are some of the things we're going to talk about in today's video. I have a set of printables here to help you out. All that will be linked down below in the description box if you want to check these out. I'll show you what I'm doing. This is what I use. If you already have a way to work out your meal plan and grocery shop and all that kind of stuff, stick to what you know you'll use. I'm a pen and paper kind of gal, though this is also digital, so you can either fill it out and use it online or on an iPad or something, or you can print it. So those will be linked down below, but I'll kind of go through the pages as we go through the tips and explain to you kind of how I do this and what makes meal planning actually functional for our family. So tip number 1, you want to have a calendar that is accessible for everyone in your family to see what is on the meal plan. It doesn't matter who's cooking. I have 2 different versions of this in my little printable pack here for you. There is the monthly meal plan where you can see the entire month at a glance if you want to plan out fully for a month. And then I also have a weekly printout, and this has obviously Monday through Sunday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as your little shopping list section at the side here where you can add things to that. Even though we don't stick to it exactly, in the sense that if I write down that for Monday for breakfast we're having oatmeal, we might not have oatmeal. We might have something else, and I'll just go ahead and cross it off so that I know that that food that we purchased is gone now, if that makes sense. So it's not hard and fast. If you're like me and you don't like feeling like too boxed in, this isn't going to make you boxed in, okay? It's just going to give you references for what meals are available to you. If you're the kind of person that likes to really plan it out night by night exactly, do that. You can definitely do that here, but I'm not saying that you have to. So step number 1 is that you've got to have a calendar, someplace that you can write this down, your family can see it, you can see it, whoever's doing the cooking, whether it's you, your spouse. My husband does a ton of the cooking around here these days. I miss it, honestly. I love cooking. So the meal plan we kind of do together, and then he's often doing the cooking. So that's why we like to have systems that are flexible for whoever's going to be utilizing it. Tip number 2. This is one that I think may arguably be the most helpful when it comes to meal planning. I don't know. They're all helpful. There's only 5, but they're all equally helpful. I just really like this one. And that is to create categories for your meal options. So for example, what you don't want to do is sit down and try to make a 2-week meal plan and feel like you have to go to Pinterest and find all this stuff and where do I begin, or open a cookbook and feel like it's too broad. We're casting too wide of a net here. Okay, we need to drill down a little bit. And so I like to utilize categories. It also helps me kind of go ahead and pre-fill in lots of meals without even having to think about it. And so what I mean by categories are, for example, maybe you want to do meatless Mondays. Then you know when you're writing down what you're going to have during the month on Mondays, it's going to be a meatless option. Some kind of pasta or something like that that does not have meat in it. If you're a Taco Tuesday family, for us, we might call it Taco Tuesday, but that just means that we're going to eat some kind of Mexican food on Tuesdays, whether it's quesadillas or enchiladas or burritos or tacos or whatever. We're going to do some kind of Mexican food on Tuesdays. We also really like to incorporate one night a week a brinner, which if you don't know is a breakfast for dinner brinner. Okay, it's lovely. It's my favorite thing. I am Ron Swanson on the inside, so I love breakfast food. And we'll do pancakes, waffles, omelets, French toast, all kinds of options. Okay, but brinner, we usually do a meat like a sausage patty or something like that. So like a meat and a breakfast food item. We love brinner. It's a staple around here. So other categories that maybe might not jump to mind is that maybe one night a week, you know for sure that you want to be making something in your crock pot. Maybe you've got a night where you're running to and fro. Everyone's got to practice a soccer game, a karate, whatever, and you've got to run around like a crazy person, and you know that that needs to be the crock pot night. That needs to be the day that you put something in the morning and then we just eat it at night. And not have to worry about actually cooking anything. Maybe, again, same thing. Maybe you want to have one night be Freezer Friday. So you're eating something from one of your freezer meal stashes on Friday nights. Obviously, only you can decide what categories work for your family, but by categorizing your meals and having specific, it doesn't, again, have to be coordinated to like Freezer Friday, but you just know that every week you're going to do a breakfast for dinner, a taco meal, a meatless meal, a freezer meal. That's 4 of the nights of the week that I already can pretty much auto-populate a meal into without having to think about it much. Tip number 3. Your meal plan should be, in my humble opinion, 80% tried and true recipes. This needs to be 80% meals you know your children will eat. Is there anything worse? Lots of things are worse, but just go with me here. Than making something new and you're so excited about it and then everyone's like, and they won't eat it and they turn their little noses up at it and they're like, I don't like that. It's weird. Why does it look like that? It has eyes. Whatever their complaints are, it's like, come on, man, just try it. It's good. It's grouper. It's grouper. It's grouper. So to save your sanity as well as your budget and not wasting a bunch of money on food that people don't eat, stick to 80% tried and true recipes. Toss in that 20% of new things you want to try. That's where you're going to go on Pinterest, right? That's where you're going to open up a cookbook. You're going to have a little fun. But you want it to be 80% things you know your family will eat, so that you, again, are not wasting money or time, but you're still getting to incorporate new recipes. And in that 20%, you can try new things. You may find something that your family loves. Those new recipes can become part of your tried and true, but you definitely don't want to be trying a bunch of new recipes every week, testing out. You're just going to be, that's just a recipe, no pun intended, for frustration and irritation. With those tried and true recipes, I do also have a printable here for your family favorites. For you, obviously, you can print out as many of these as you need to list out your family favorites so that you have kind of a master list to go to when you're sitting down to say, okay, we want to do a brinner, so what are our options for that? Sometimes I forget about things. I'll make something once or twice and we really like it, and then I kind of forget about it. So having a running master list of family favorite meals that you can go to and your people will eat them. So that sheet is in this pack as well. Tip number 4. Now, I know we talked about the benefit of a crock pot and I do love it, but I'm here to tell you that making freezer meals ahead of time is where it's at. If you are in a busy season of life, sometimes it is just so much easier to carve out a few hours in one day, a Sunday afternoon, a Saturday afternoon, if you're Saturday evening, if you've got no life like I do. I don't go anywhere on Saturday night. Might as well make some frozen enchiladas. It's so nice to have a stash of freezer meals where, again, you don't have to go, oh, there's nothing to eat. I've got to order something in or go pick something up or whatever. You've got a stash of meals that you can pull from. Again, that could be part of your meal plan. It can also be your parachute, your pull string. Pull this string in case of emergency, okay? Open this freezer and eat this food in case of emergency. In case the wheels have come off today and you didn't get to make the thing you were supposed to make Or what often happens in our house is that someone eats an ingredient, and it's very frustrating, especially if you don't realize that you are missing said ingredient until you are halfway through making the recipe. So sometimes we need a parachute meal. So these freezer meals for me are my parachute meals. They're my pull this lever in case of emergency meals. I highly recommend making some. I do have, I think I've only ever done one video. Maybe I will do some more in the future, but I will link it down below. I have a video of some really good freezer meals that we really like. So I will link that down below if you want to check it out. Having those meals in the freezer ready to go is fantastic for freeing up your time and you not having to be in the kitchen every night cooking, actually making the food all the time. If you can plan ahead like that, that's fantastic. I know a lot of people really like to do although I hate this terminology, what do they call them? The dump and go. I don't like that. Sounds disgusting, but the crock pot where you put all the ingredients into a freezer bag, then dump it into the crock pot and let it cook so that you're not even having to do that much prep on days where you're doing crock pot meals. There are lots of ways that you can take a small block of time and use it wisely to give yourself more time later in the week. It's like a gift to yourself later. Your later self will hug you and thank you for it. And I do, of course, also have a sheet for you to list all of your freezer meals. So this is for you to keep an inventory of the freezer meals that you've made, their expiration, so that you can have, again, like a master list to go to if you want to just put it onto the meal plan. Or in the case of a Hail Mary, again, you could just take a look at the list and see, what do I have out there in the freezer, in the deep freezer, whatever, that we could make for dinner. So I've got that list for you as well. Okay, number 5, and I saved this one for last because I know it's going to be a little bit controversial, but what would be a video without a controversial statement by me about something completely subjective that we're allowed to disagree on. People on the internet don't like to agree to disagree. They like to tell you how much they disagree with you. With that said, tip number 5 is don't worry about coupons and shopping sales and trying to save the most money on the food that you are buying. Hear me out, okay? I'm not saying that you can't get to the place where you're couponing more if that's what you want to do, or get to the place where you're shopping the sales for the best prices on the ingredients. But at least for me, in the beginning, when you're trying to get this into like a well-oiled machine, you're trying to get this menu and meal plan established, you just need to focus on buying the food that the people in your house will actually eat. Because you know what you save money on? You save money when you actually eat the food you buy. When you buy bags of salad for the person you want to be, and you don't eat those bags of salad and they rot all sad and pathetic with droopy eyes in your fridge and just wait for you to throw them away because they know that's their fate. That's where all salad bags go, into the garbage, or in our case, to the chickens or pigs or whoever. Buying food for the meal plan that you wish that you would stick to, the super healthy one where everything is, organic and there's no fat in anything and no calories either, whatever that meal plan is, buying the food, or I guess that would be like styrofoam, not food, but buying those ingredients and not actually eating them or using them is far more wasteful than not saving 10 cents by not running from store to store to be able to use this coupon here or get the sale price on that there. Once you know that you're buying things you're going to eat and use, go right on back to couponing or, store hopping or whatever you want to do. But in the beginning, I would just stick to the meal plan. And obviously you can do that at multiple stores. I mean, when we meal plan and grocery shop, we get stuff from Costco and Sam's Club and Walmart, blah, blah, blah. But I just don't run around trying to find the best price on this or looking through to see like what's on sale this week and I'll make something with what's on sale this week. That's too much for my little pea brain. So I have to just go with the meals that I know we'll eat. I know for us at least, that's what will actually save me money, is to make things that we will actually eat, not try to make things because that particular food item is on sale this week. Now you should have a meal plan of some sort. You should be able to easily plug in the meals that you're having, whether you want to do this 1 week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, or a month at a time. My recommendation is always to start small, meal plan 1 week at a time, grocery shop for 1 week of groceries at a time. If you're totally new to meal planning, that's the best way to do it, I think, to begin with. You know, you've got to walk before you run, before you can run with the big dogs, the monthly grocery shoppers, like my friend Sarah. The monthly grocery shoppers, those are the big dogs. Before you can run with them, you've got to walk. So start by just meal planning 1 week at a time, then 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then you can go up to 4 weeks, however many you want. And I do have in the printable pack, there is also a shopping list section broken up by meats and dairy and produce. Again, you can print as many of these as you need. So yeah, my whole meal planning pack is available on my website. I will link that down below. But those are my 5 tips to meal plan the easy way, which is, of course, the way that you will stick to and actually utilize and use. And this has been about a 2-year journey for us of trying to get better and more consistent with meal planning. Again, we're not perfect. There are times that we do order pizza. We're never aiming for perfection, but this has definitely saved us a ton of money. Again, we kind of had this like come to Jesus when we realized how much money we were spending on groceries by not doing a good job meal planning. We would just go and just like buy things, throw this in the cart. We know we eat this, we know we eat that. And it was just a disaster, and we were wasting so much money and food. So meal planning, I think, is so incredibly beneficial, whether it's one person in your family, it's you and your cat, or you've got a dozen people in your family. Meal planning will save you time and money and all of those good things in the long run. I highly recommend. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you guys have any other tips that you think would be very helpful for people who are maybe new to meal planning or a little unsure about it, or feel like they can't stick to it, if there's any other advice that y'all would give, feel free to leave it down below in the comments. We are a brain trust here where I like to share what's worked for me and my ideas, but y'all all the time contribute ideas and things that I never would have thought of. So share them down below in the comments if you got them. Otherwise, I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.
Rainy day.